There's a reason why we call them a murder of crows.
في أصوات غريبة صراحة.
Both the crows and foxes do the same. They rip up the turf because they look for a little grub worm, and then the crows pick it up. I mean, highly intelligent. They know the shit.
Really?
Yeah. Because we do most of the work on the golf buggies to bring the element of fear. Because there's no natural predator for them. The more active we are on the property, the more fear, obviously.
They're going to get the fear of God put in them today. ما شفناها بس مسكت غراب صغير دخلت بين الأشجار. الحين نحاول نطلعها ندورها نشوفها وين.
وهذا كابوس الغربان الصقر الحارس.
لا يغركم الشكل، احنا مو في زنجبار، احنا في دبي.
بعرفكم على سكاي، صقر تم تدريبه مع السقارين في وايلد فلايت.
صبحكم الله بالخير، حياكم الله. اليوم عندي لكم مغامرة جديدة، شيء غير. اليوم بنجمع بين التراث والعادات الإماراتية وبزنس حديثة. ليش؟ واحد إماراتي صالح، واحد من جنوب أفريقيا روان، جمعوا زمان كان عندهم فكرة قال يلا نبغى نسوي هالشيء بس نبغى نخليها بزنس. خلينا نشوف شو عندهم.
My falconry basically started much like the Arab falconers. I started as a young kid, 7. I think I was turning 7 at the time. Met a falconer and then basically got into it from that perspective.
So it wasn't with your dad?
No, not completely like Arab falconers, but as a young kid, basically. It wasn't really in the family. In my home country, South Africa, currently there's only about 130 registered falconers. In Dubai itself, almost every second person is a falconer. In fact, put all the falconers in the whole world together, Dubai will have more falconers in the world combined.
Wow.
I kept on doing falconry as a hobby, more from the hunting perspective, not really the educational side. Moved over to the Middle East in 2012. A couple of months later, we decided to start wild flight. Now, the main focus for wild flight was educational experiences in the city, obviously for tourists. And then we moved over to the pest control side of things, the bird control. I'm a glorified pest controller, basically. Flying falcons to chase away invasive bird species. We started about 8 years ago on the property, but we were only brought for the golf course itself. So what happens is the crows, they rip up the turf because they look for a little grub worm that you find at a certain time of the year. So the season is normally, let's say from December up until March, April. That's normally the season. It's like a Japanese beetle. They get it drawn by the light and then the crows pick it up. I mean, highly intelligent. The crows will pick it up. They know the shirt, and because we do most of the work on the golf buggies. We work closely with the agronomy team. If we see the crows active in a certain area, we inform the agronomy team and they'll spray pesticides. Like a prevention before it becomes a problem. But at the same time, when they spray, the crows will be more active because that's when the grub worms try to push. In the mornings, the team will drive around with the golf buggy, fly the birds. We obviously fly the hawks to bring the element of fear because there's no natural predator for them. With us bringing the Harris hawks or the falcons, the more active we are on the property, the more fear, obviously. It will prevent the population from expanding too much or out of control. We initially started wild flight to just fly birds. It's a hobby that pays, nice comfortable life. I mean, we were two young guys who just not really want to take on the responsibilities, fly birds and just make a living out of it. And that expanded into what wild flight is today. I mean, we've got 25 active falconers. We spread over more than 40 locations to combat invasive bird species. On a good month, we trap between 400 and 500 crows per property.
عشان يخلون الأماكن هادية يعني زين حق الناس.
في الوقت العادي ما تشوف هذا النوع من الصقور في الإمارات، لكن تم اختيارهم خصيصاً لهذا المهمة.
Very intelligent, well adapt with the temperature as well. So it makes it a little bit better for us to work with this. You don't really get indigenous species except the shikra. But the shikra is also tiny. I mean, it's half the size of a crow almost. And that's why these invasive birds are so bold, yes, and so successful. Not only the breeding rate, but also there's no real natural predator for them.
These came in on a ship or something back in the day.
It's the thing. It's the trade route. You follow the boats. There's where there's humans, there's food, there's water, there's safety. The only natural predator for crows in general is a bird of prey bigger. The main one is actually it's humans and owls.
Owls?
Yes.
Interesting.
But with us in the UAE, the only owl species that is big enough and strong enough is your desert eagle owl. But you get them in the desert, they don't come into the cities, you know.
الهدف مو بأنهم يمسكون غراب، الهدف أنهم يخوفون الغربان ويحسسونهم أن هم عايشين فيلم رعب. ليش؟ عشان إذا هم الحين خايفين مثل ما تشوفون ما يأكلون ودائما يكونوا متوترين، المطلوب عشان ما ينهني ما يلعوزون الناس اللي في الوزويت.
لجميع السقارين هني يمكن هذا المشهد تكون غريب بالنسبة لكم، طير بدون برقع. يوم يكونون على الإيد الغربان يشوفون السقر أو يتوترون، بس يوم تطير يتخبلون.
See what the crows do now. So obviously a lot of stress trying to get her out. Because they know they'll be more aggressive even now because of the youngsters in the area.
حتى يوم يكون جالس في مكان تقدر تشوف ان الغربان ما تكونوا مرتاحين، جميعهم في حالة تهب عالية.
I mean, they now can catch 4 or 5 birds a day with one falcon. Do that on a daily basis, and you prevent them from breeding, prevent them from eating. So we did a 3-year study in the beginning to see the changes, and then over time, as we obviously run the project, we can see indigenous birds flourishing, indigenous birds coming back in, and it's a more peaceful sound, bird sound, when you go and play golf compared to
Makes a big difference.
this crow on the golf course. Yeah.
ما لحقنا نشوفها وهي ماسكة الغراب، بس الحين طارت على شجرة. الحمد لله حصلناها.
This might take a while for us to get it back. During obviously breakfast period, the team will come out with the birds, like a scarecrow, living scarecrow. They'll protect the areas, mainly just for when the guests are out for breakfast. Summer months, we're not that active. Obviously, guests don't want to sit outside. They're more than happy to be inside in the AC. It's just to keep the crows away, keep the birds away, so they don't come and snatch food from the tables. Obviously, you need to be on site on a daily basis. If we were actively hunting, then we can actually come one morning, skip a day, come in the afternoon, because that will actually instill a bigger fear because of the crow.
They don't know, is it going to be there or not there?
Exactly. The trapping system that we use is also humane traps. Traditionally trap and release.
الشبكة والقفص عشان يمسكون الغربان، شيء أكل داخله، والفكرة من وراها الغربان يوقفون فوق، ينزلون ياكلون وعقب ما يقدرون يطلعون.
Obviously we put food in what they normally get from the restaurants. Put water, fresh water. Actually, during summer months, you don't even need to put food in, just water. So birds will go in, they'll hop on the ladder system, hop until they find a gap that's big enough, fly in, and then obviously when they try and escape, they go to the highest corners and not to where the ladder is. We can remove on average 400 crows on a property.
الحين هالطير مو موجود في الإمارات، يعني ما تعيش في الإمارات، جايبين من برا، جايبين من بريطانيا عشان يشتغل هني. الإماراتيين يطيرون الطيور حق الصيد، بس هذا عندي شغل مهم جدا في الإمارات.
Keep your glove down until you're ready for her to come, because you see she's quite ready. Turn your shoulder towards her. When you're ready, you just put the glove up. She'll be right there.
لسكان الإمارات وزوارها هذا تجربة حلوة وتقدر تحجزها عبر وايلد فلايت.
كلت وخلصت.
لا يهم إذا أنت كبير أو صغير، هذا شعور مدهش أن تكون وايد قريب من هذا الطيور القوية. يوم الوالد يزورني باخذه وياي يشاركني التجربة.
جاهزين؟
هذا النسر الكبيرة اسمها بونز.
Good job.
أو فريق وايلد فلايت أنقذوها أولانتي يستخدمونها للتعليم. سبحان الله الفرق في الحجم والأشكال وحتى اللون العيون لكل الطيور هني.
She won't bite hard, but the feet are strong.
تجربة جميلة ولكن شوي مختلفة مع وايلد فلايت. ما أعرف إذا يبين في الكاميرا، لكن يوم البومة تطير تكون صامتة تماماً.
واو.
لكن الآن حان وقت الجزء الأرض اللي تكون أقرب للتراث العربي.
هذا سكريبت. ياسين نروح نطير.
So Asad's going to fly Sinbad first for us, am I right? We're going to be flying to the Tilwa. This is how falcons were traditionally trained as well. To the Tilwa, ours is a leather pouch, but this can be made out of wings, yeah. And basically the bird has been trained from a young age to get that in his feet. At this stage, he knows that once he gets that in his feet, it will be exchanged for his full portion of food. Again, 10% of his body weight, so it's quite a great prize.
دوم استانس يوم أشوف تقاليد الخليج تنتشر في العالم.
Of course, when they go out hunting, they don't necessarily see the first bird, just pick it up off the ground and keep going. Prey is going to try to escape, and that's what the little lure will imitate. Telemetry, a tracker. This is in the event that the falcon takes off. It's always a possibility. Anything can happen about putting a tracker on them when they fly. If he gets distracted for 1 minute and flies in the wrong direction, 1 minute is a long way. They can hear everything that's going on around them, but it doesn't matter because they can't see it.
ما كنت بأخرب عليهم فخليت هذا الجزء للمحترفين. الآن هو وقت الجلوس والتمتع بالأرض.
It's a nice wind.
You'll see Sinbad keeps a very close eye on Asad.
الصقور ما شاء الله جميلة. أنا متأكد إنكم شفتوا هذا المشهد 100 المرات، ولكن بالنسبة لي هو شيء جميل جدا.
Sometimes he just plays with our feeling. We want him to believe that he can catch it and go for it in that way, because that way he's getting as fit as a bird who is hunting for themselves. So although we don't hunt with these falcons, we want them to be just as fit and just as healthy.
انتهت التمارين ويا وقت الأكل لسندباد. يستاهل.
He's quite ready to have his hood off, but again we won't risk flying him without it.
Yeah, it's through the metal ring.
Yeah.
يوم حد مثلي يحاول يتفلسف ويسوي شيء ما يعرف لها يمكن يجيب العيد.
Right, Konsu? You're ready?
Stupid question. Saker Falcons are the biggest falcon?
No, the Joe Falcon is. She is twice his weight. She's also a female, so she's larger as well.
يوم يشيلون البرقع عن الطير يشوفه ويستوعب شو اللي ياس يستوي ويعرف انه وقت المناسب له.
So we could rush him along. We could cast him off into the air. We choose not to do that, in particular with Konsu. If he's not ready and we cast him off.
كنت بقول ان الطير مو متفيج وياس ياخذ وقته بس طار. وايد فلايت ما تدربوا هذا الصقور لتخوف الغربان، بس تقدر تشوف ان الغربان يتوترون اول ما يشوفونه.
Give this one to him. Nice, Konsu. And that counts. Punching it out of the air counts. If it was another bird, it would be stunned, unconscious or dead. We accept that.
ناموس.
And that's the exchange. It's an essential part of keeping these birds healthy. If we don't fly them every day, there are a whole number of diseases that they will suffer from inevitably, starting with pressure on their feet, from standing still, yeah. Of course, if they're not working for the food, that will affect their appetite and their weight. And then it becomes very hard to monitor their appetite. And it becomes difficult to recognize symptoms of other diseases. An unfit bird will breathe quite heavily, might look a lot like a bird that has aspergillosis, which is fatal. So it's important to keep them fit in order to keep them healthy.
And you fly them every single day?
كل يوم مع وايد فلايت يكون يوم طويل، لكن شغلهم شيء عالمي.
I really do appreciate your time today. I know you've got a busy schedule, 40 plus locations, 25 falconers, but it was, I've known you guys for a long time, right? Yeah. We met many years ago, but this is the first time I finally had the chance to get out with you, so.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me, and honestly, I think people don't really see what's going on below the surface, right? Like, okay, you go and you have breakfast right now at Jebel Ali Resort. You go have breakfast, there's no crows bothering you, no crows stealing your food. You think, okay, don't even notice, nice breakfast, whatever. But you guys have a big team behind the scenes, taking care of the birds, training the birds, buying the birds, bringing them here. There's a lot that goes on to make this experience, so it's pretty cool.
Well, fantastic, thank you. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
صعب انك تمارس اشياء تراثية نفس هذا بشكل يومي، لكن اليوم في ناس مثل فريق وايد فلايت يستخدمون حلول قديمة لمشاكل حديثة تعرف انهم يساعدون في الحفاظ على العادات.